Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Invin. Today I wanted to bring you guys the most essential things that you need to do during open beta to make the most of it and make sure that you are fully prepared for the launch on September 28th when we do get full launch of New World. Now the open beta is coming up on the 9th of September for those of you that somehow haven't heard that yet. Get prepared, you need to pre-register on Steam on the 8th of September. There'll be a little button that appears there where you can click on that and register for the beta, and then you'll be given access to that on the 9th when it does go live, and that means you can download all the files and stuff. And essentially, this beta is a great opportunity to just test out several things. It's more of a stress test for the servers more than anything because it does only last 3 or maybe almost 4 days by the few hours they add on. I think it's about an extra 18 hours, so pretty much almost 4 days. But it's going to not be enough time to really get to max level and test out those end game things, but it is going to be really good for fine-tuning certain things in the game, particularly for that early game start. So that is what I'm going to go over today. First thing here that I would recommend you do during the beta is to actually test the weapons and builds. Now a lot of you guys will have used things like WorldForge, which I've linked in several videos, where you can actually test out different builds visually. You can map out kind of which passives, which actives you want to go for, map out your attributes, and this is going to give you a great opportunity to actually try those weapons in game, get used to the abilities that you're wanting to use. Maybe you use one of the abilities and realize it's not quite as good as you thought, or it doesn't really work with your playstyle, so you can swap that out and then reconfigure your build for launch so that everything is absolutely fine-tuned. And the reason for doing this is so that when launch actually does come around, you're going to be very smooth line and ready to go so that you can boost on that level straight off the bat. You're going to pick up the weapon that you want to level and you know that you want to get that to max. You can absolutely hammer out the levels on that one weapon, which is going to give you a huge power spike in terms of those passives and those active abilities when you level them up and everything like that as well. And that's going to be super effective, particularly early and mid game when people are still leveling up weapons or switching in and out of different ones. If you know where you're going with that, you're really going to take an advantage. Another thing that I would recommend you do is get familiar with some of the zones, particularly the starting areas. So your Monarch's Bluff, your Windsward, Everfall, Brightwood. Brightwood kind of creeps into the mid game, but it's a really good one. Restless Shore in the same category as that. Weaver's Fen. Just get a bit accustomed to some of those zones. And even if you don't really want to power level, even up to like 20 or 30, just stick to those starting zones and really get some gathering routes going, get some leveling routes going. Places where you can find certain materials that you might like saltpeter is going to be something that a lot of people are going to be wanting to get at the start for the crafting that gunpowder. So if you know a location in your desired starting zone, or the one that you're going to run to once you've done the initial quests, then you can get some of that early doors and probably make quite a decent profit, or indeed craft the ammo yourself to make profit or use. So that's going to be sort of one like recommendation, is work out some gathering routes for iron, for wood, for all of that good stuff in the area that you want to be in. And on top of that, work out where each of the mobs and the quests take you in that area so that when full launch does come around, you complete those initial quests, run to the area you want to be in, and then you can just smash out those quests super quick, get yourselves leveled up and ahead of the crowd, and that's going to then really give you a good advantage going forward, as you're not going to be stuck doing the same quests as everybody else on the server, which is going to be super helpful. Also, if you are with a company and they're going to particularly focus on making one settlement their sort of home base, maybe they're hoping to take it over either right at the start or eventually, or they're just going to base a lot of their crafting and stuff out of there, take the time to get to know the city itself, the settlement, where each of the crafting stations are, and obviously the surrounding areas, so you can get accustomed to where you can gather things quickly should you need them for the town board quests or anything else like crafting whilst you're in that settlement. Now, one of the main priorities during the open beta should be for you to fine-tune your start, your leveling routes, things that you need like materials and where they're going to be, so how much materials you need for each quest, etc. And this is going to be really crucial because, as I said there, when the game comes out, everybody is going to be doing the exact same quest. So if you can get on in the first couple of hours and get really quickly ahead of the pack, you are then going to actually be able to do your quests a lot quicker because there's not going to be as much competition for those higher leveled quests, at least initially. So it's going to be really important to make sure that you fine-tune what you're going to be doing, how each starting zone works, maybe even re-roll a few different characters so that you can experience each of the starting zones, kind of see what it's like, because if there's server queues when the game comes out, hopefully there isn't going to be, but if there is, you maybe don't want to keep re-rolling when it's there. So if you know at least the route for each of the areas, or at least a couple of them, and hopefully get one of those, then that's going to be great. But what you really want to do is just work out your timings, which materials you'll need to complete the quest so you can do them all ahead of time. You can just gather everything in one go, then go ahead and just complete all of the different quests, and that's going to be super useful. It's going to save you tons of time where other players are going to have to grab the quest, see what they need, then go and get it, come back, do the next one, etc. Whereas if you've got it fine-tuned down to a T, you're going to be really, really ready to go, and it's going to give you a huge advantage off the bat. Another really important thing, again, particularly for those people in companies that are wanting to buy a settlement off the rip, getting good gold methods off the start. I did make a video on this a few days ago. If you haven't seen that yet, it will be linked on screen for you guys now, so you can actually check that out. But also just kind of working out which quests give you gold, how much gold you'll have by the time you get to the settlement, etc. So you can kind of work out as a company how many players you are, how long it's going to take you to get that gold, and whether it's going to be worth instantly investing that into a settlement, or whether you guys kind of want to hold back, maybe do it in 2-3 days, see how things play out. It's entirely up to you, but that's going to be another really useful thing to fine-tune off the start. Now, something else that's going to be really important, kind of linking on from that company point there, is actually to group up with your company or find a company during open beta. There's going to be tons and tons of people recruiting new members, so make sure you find yourself a good solid group of people, or indeed if you're already in one, try and group up with some of these members, make friends with a few of the people inside your company, because when full launch comes around, grouping up with other players is going to be absolutely huge. The speed that you can actually go through some of these quests and actually do the higher level quests, which are 3, 4, 5, 6 levels above where you are right now, if you're in a group, you are able to do that. So being in a group is going to mean you can power through particularly the main story very, very quickly. And that's going to be super beneficial, again, for avoiding getting stuck in those kind of conjunctions where everybody's got to the same quest. Particularly, I'm thinking the tentacle one, where you have to kill those tentacles that come out of the ground. Particularly annoying in the closed beta, so hopefully if you can get ahead with either yourself or just a few of friends there or a few company members, then you guys can boost yourselves up and get a little bit ahead there by working together. It's going to be super useful, as you won't get stuck in those kind of tie-breaking events where everybody's waiting for the same thing to spawn. Now, on top of that, obviously it will improve group cohesion, so it's really, really good idea to try and even just have some fun, run some dungeons, whatever you want to do some duels, get to know the people that you're going to be working with when the game launches. Now, another absolutely key thing to do in the open beta is to actually try out different armor sets. Now, a lot of people, including myself, really like the light armor. It's probably the best one in the game because the roll and the dodge there is just super, super good. And just the damage boost, particularly if you're a DPS player, but even if you're going to be a tank that's kind of wanting to hit a little bit harder, it can be good. Light armor kind of you really want for pretty much any DPS, medium maybe at a push. It's kind of up to you on your playstyle there. Most of your tanks and quite a lot of the healers from beta were using heavy armor, so again, it's kind of up to you. What I would absolutely highly suggest is trying out the medium, trying out the heavy armor, seeing what those are like against some mobs, against some duels in PvP or open world PvP, seeing what the movement's like and getting used to different things. Also trying out the different stat boosts, whether it makes your build more tanky, whether it makes you less mobile, whatever the case may be. Have a little look through whilst you've got the opportunity to do so, because the server does get wiped before launch, so you're going to have plenty of chance to mess around with all sorts of different things, and that's going to be really, really vital. And it'll also mean when launch comes around, you know exactly which pieces of armor you're looking for, whether it's going to be light, medium or heavy, and you can scrap the other pieces just to get a load of those repair parts off the bat, which is going to be super useful going forward. Now, following on from this point here, I also wanted to talk about movement mechanics and getting used to things like roll cancelling or whatever your armor class may be. Now, depending which one you do eventually choose, like I said there, if you go with light, you will get the opportunity to roll, and you can actually roll cancel by swapping weapons mid-roll, and this will mean that the animation is a lot quicker, a lot smoother, and it gets you up a lot faster, meaning that you can travel faster and quicker by using this roll cancel technique. Now, this is a really, really good thing to master, and once you've got the hang of it, it can literally halve the time that your journey takes from place to place, so it's going to be one of the most beneficial things to get on top of during open beta, where you could literally spend an hour practicing this if you really wanted to get the knack of it. But it is fairly simple to do. Once you've done it a few times, you'll get the hang of it, and then you can sort of jump into it and use it throughout the game. Again, if you're going to be doing even a medium or heavy armor, the dodges there also have a cancel animation where you can swap things, and they then become a little bit more fluid. So it's getting used to how to use those to the best of your advantage, so that you can spend less time running around. And again, following on from this, what I would absolutely try out is trying to level some of those movement weapons. And what I mean by this is things like the fire staff, where you've got the burnout ability, which charges you forward, and that one you literally just just have to get a couple of levels on to get the ability. So you could work on leveling a few of those. Also, you've got things like the hatchet with Berserk. That one again only needs 2 or 3 levels in to actually get the speed buff. So you can then just go ahead and run 20% faster for 15 seconds, which is absolutely amazing ability. The Great Axe with its charge ability is also really good. And you also have the Rapier Dash, which you can use. And it does reset on mobs as well, that one. So you can dash from kind of like rabbit to turkey, and then you can get a double dash going on as well, which can be really, really useful for getting yourselves around. Personally, I prefer the hatchet, the fire staff, and the Great Axe. So I just wanted to give that one a little bit of a cheeky mention, because it is something that if you're going to play that class anyway, you might want to spec into it while you're leveling. But it's a really good idea to carry that third weapon round simply for movement when you are running quite a far distance or just from place to place. It can be very useful to do this and can get you again a little bit ahead of everybody else. You're also going to want to look at crafting and the skills that you want to prioritize at launch. So if you're particularly going to be going for stone cutting, which again, following on from yesterday's video, I would imagine a lot of people are going to be doing as I recommended there, because obviously we need it for the expedition keys, and these are bind on pickup, meaning that as soon as you craft them, or currently they are, they might change in open beta, so we'll have to wait and see, but currently they're bind on pickup, which means when you craft them, they're stuck on you or in your bank. So you're going to be needed in a party if you can do this, because a lot of people won't have the ability to craft them all. And obviously, if you can craft them and you're a PvE player anyway, it's going to be super beneficial, as you're going to be able to get a lot of runs out of these, getting a lot of gear, gold, experience, all of that good stuff. So looking into the crafting ones you want to do, personally for me, I want to look into cooking and arcana, because I've found these to be very useful skills, particularly for my playstyle. So if there's any that you guys want to focus on, maybe you're an armor crafter, maybe you're a weaver, whatever the case may be, fine tune that, look at some good routes around your home base. So I personally like Everfall and Windswood, so I've got a few routes planned out around those that I want to test out. You guys should do the same with whichever settlement you want to be based out of. Find some routes that have the materials that are going to link directly to your skill and your crafting method, and then just fine tune how you can mega craft stuff. So which items are going to give you a lot of XP for not a lot of resources, so you can power level that when the game comes out and get yourself ahead to make those nice profits, and indeed the actual items themselves as well. Now, another thing that I am going to spend a decent amount of time on when the beta is out is actually fine-tuning the best XP methods. Obviously, we had the town board quests in the closed beta, and this could still well be a very good method for XP, but because the refresh time is now 30 minutes instead of the 5 that we had towards the start of closed beta, I think this is a good change, but it's going to mean that the XP rates are slightly down. So I'm going to go through the game trying to find the best methods for XP, and I would recommend that you do the same for you, because your individual playstyle might find some really good methods in the side quests, in the faction quests, whatever the case may be. And I'm going to try and fine tune this for you guys and bring you all a video on it when I do uncover what the best method actually is. But until then, I'm going to be testing that out during the beta, so if you want to do the same thing, I would highly recommend doing that as well. And finally here, one of the most important, if not the most important thing on the list for the open beta is to actually have fun. A lot of people are trying to min-max the open beta, which if that's your playstyle and you want to fine tune some stuff, by all means, more power to you. Have fun with that, but that is their version of having fun, so do not feel like you have to do that. Test out different weapons, test out different classes, test out healing if you're usually a tank. Literally, just do some random stuff that you've not thought of before. See what you actually want to do, so that when the game comes out, you are streamlined and ready to go. We don't have too long. Like I said, there's just over 3.5 days that we get to actually play the open beta, so connect with some friends. If you've got friends that are playing on the same server or your company, try and duel them, mess around, have some fun there with that. Also, get to know some of the people that are in your company, so that you can maybe form a group for when the game does come out, because again, it is faster to level as a group there, so it'd be really cool to have some friends that you can get on with. And also there, get some team synergy going, get some big group PvP. All of you at level 10 run outside of Windswood and try and fight people, that sort of thing. Just have fun with it, see what works for you, and enjoy the game. Particularly if you're going to be staying on the same server that you're playing on in the open beta as well, making some friends will be very, very useful, as it might lead to some allies down the line, or indeed some people to team up with when you're doing expeditions or PvP. This will be really, really cool if you can make some friends on the server, so it's always a good opportunity to do that as well. Now, hopefully this video has helped you guys out. I've tried to cover a lot of the things that I've been thinking and keeping in the back of my mind that I want to do when the open beta comes out, and now that we're getting ever closer, just a few days out from the open beta, I just thought I'd bring you guys a little video detailing what you should be doing to make the most out of it and optimizing your time that we do get in the open beta. Now, if you have enjoyed this video, please make sure that you do leave a like on it down below, as it really, really really does help me out. And if you are new to the channel, do drop a subscribe down below. We're uploading new world content every single day, so we'd love to have you here as part of the community. If you'd like to join my wider community outside of YouTube, head over to the Discord. The link is in the description and in the comments of this video. If you want to join the company, that is the place to do it. And if you'd just like to be part of the discussion that goes behind all of these videos, head over there. We've got tons of really good players, really cool people in there, so it'd be nice to have you. If you do want to go ahead and join the channel as a member, the option is down below. You can click the join button and have a look at those options there. And other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching. Take care and peace.